Hey everyone, welcome back. So, in our last lectures, we have successfully created our first app, which is the Hello Swift app, and it looks amazing. Now, in this video, we are going to dive into Swift basics. So, before diving deeper into app development, we need to learn Swift, which is the programming language that will be used in creating that application. You have seen a little example of Swift in our previous lecture in which we created the application, but we still have a lot to learn before we actually start developing real world applications. So in this video, we will be learning about constants, variables, and data types, which are the fundamentals of Swift programming language. Other than that, we will be also exploring strings. So it will be a little long video because we will be exploring these things in detail. So sit back, open Xcode and code along with me. So let's jump into Xcode now. So let us search Xcode. And instead of creating a new project now, we will be creating a playground. Um, so instead of creating new project, we'll go on top here. We'll select File, New, and we'll select Playground. So if you want to just run Swift programming language code and want to see the output, you can use Playground. In Playground, we don't have any simulator or anything. We can just write plain code and then run it and see in the debug what output is giving. Let's see it in action to understand more. So I'll select blank and I'll name it Swift basics variables. Let's make it full screen. So now you can see we already have a variable created here on line number 3 which says hello playground, and we have a play icon here. Let's just press it. So now on the right hand side you can see the result is printed in which greetings is equal to hello playground. So this is the line of code which is giving this output, hello playground. So once you play the button, this section will show the result and will also show which line is producing that result. If I add one more line like where a is equal to 12, print a, and hit the play button again, you will see here it is saying the value of a is 12. So a is assigned as 12 and print statement has printed 12 here. And similarly in the debug area, this bottom section is the debug area. So whatever we type as print, it will be printed here at the debug area. All right. So this right side will show the value of each variable which is written here, and this bottom bar, this bottom section, which is the debug area, it will show the print statements that we add in the code. Now let's explore the code step by step. So we will remove this for now. We will remove this import UI kit. We don't need it right now. And we will also remove the variable. So we'll be starting from scratch. So first thing that we will be discussing is constants. So whenever you are creating any application, there might be some data that you want to store in the app. Let's say there is let's say you are creating an application that will show your resume. All right. So in your resume, you will have to add data like your name, your age, your companies that you have worked for, your mobile number. So these are some of the things that you will need to store inside the application. So to store these kind of data, we have two options. One is constants, other one is variable. So we will discuss constant in this, and after that we will be discussing variable. So if I have to store my name, let's say Keshu Rai, I cannot directly write it like this because Swift doesn't understand what Keshu Rai is. And you'll see it will start throwing an error, cannot find Keshu in scope. What Swift understands is variable, data types, and all other things. So to store it, we will have to say let name is equal to Keshu Rai. So once I write this, Swift will understand that there is a name called Keshu Rai and we have to store it as name. So now when I will say, now when I will use name anywhere in the code, Swift will know that I have to print Keshu Rai because that's the name. That's the value name holds. So whatever we write here after the equal to, this will get stored inside this constant name. It is not required to keep this as name. You can change anything that you want. If you want to say something like ABCD, you can name it anything and then replace it here. It will work fine. So for the name, you can write anything. That is up to you. But there are few rules about naming. So let's just remove it, make it name again. So there are few rules while declaring a constant. One is always use letter or underscore or any Unicode character. So this is a rule while declaring a constant or variable. The name can only start with a letter or an underscore or any Unicode character. We generally don't use any Unicode character. Normally we use letters or underscore. So if I have to create a name, I cannot say one name is equal to something. It cannot, the variable name cannot start with a number. I could have added one at the last. This will work, but the name should not have one at the starting. Similarly, we can create variable like name2. This is also fine. As long as we are using underscore, it is fine. Using any uppercase is also fine, like let name is equal to this. This is also fine. Complete an uppercase. This is also fine. We can even use underscore in between. This is also fine. Multiple underscores. This is also fine. As long as there's no number in front, everything is fine. Other thing is we cannot have spaces in between, like we cannot say name is equal to something. We cannot have spaces in between of the variable names. So this is wrong. In Swift, we use camel case for naming of the variables. By camel case, we means, let's say we have to store a car model. So we say let car model is equal to Toyota. So camel case means the naming will start with lowercase, and if there is any other word inside that variable name, we will make the first alphabet as capital so that we can easily differentiate, and it will help us easily read the variable name, because we know that once the uppercase is visible, the word is ending here and a new word is starting here. If I have to say car model name, you'll see it is easier to understand and read that I'm storing some car model name. If we make it all lowercase, it will become a little confusing that what actually this word want to say. So that is why we use camel case in naming in Swift. And there's another way too, like we can say car underscore model underscore name, which in many programming languages people usually do this too. But in iOS, it is always preferred to use camel case. Even in the internal code of Swift, if you will see, everywhere they have used camel case only. So always try to use camel case in Swift. And for the name also, always the name of the variables should start with lowercase letter. Like this uppercase we generally use for structure or classes. So we don't start, this is not actually a written rule, but this is a general practice that we developers do to keep the code clean and easy to understand. All right, so let's just remove all this. I hope you understood the naming of the variable and the camel case. Now there are few properties of constants. The major property is constants can never change. So if the name is Keshurai and later on I want to say that change the name to something like K Rai, this won't be possible and Swift will start throwing an error. And the error says cannot assign to value, name is a let constant. By this error, it means that if we have declared name as a let, which let means constant. If we have declared it as constant, you cannot change it. And it is suggesting to change it to var. If I click on this red dot and click apply, change let to var to make it mutable. So if I click on apply, you will see that it has changed our name variable to a var variable. So by let we mean a constant and by var we mean a variable. So let's change it back to let. So one property of constant is they are immutable. So by immutable we mean that we cannot change the value once we assign it. So when we are creating this constant, we can declare the value. Once we have declared the value, we cannot change it. All right. So this is the most important property of a constants. Now let's discuss variables. Variables are mutable. All right. So variables are mutable. By mutable, I mean that whatever value that we assign to a variable can be changed. For constant, the keyword was let. Similarly, for variable, the keyword is var. Var name is equal to Keshu Rai. Now you'll notice one more thing. Once I write it, it will give invalid redeclaration of name. So this error means that we have already created a property named name. Even though it was a let, it doesn't matter. This name property has already been taken. So if I declare another property with the same name, it will start throwing an error. It doesn't matter whether it was a let and this one is var. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the name should be unique. So because I have already used it, I cannot use it again. If I name it as name1, this will work fine because this is unique now. So let's change it to age so that we don't mix it and store 12 inside it. Now, as I said, variables are mutable, so we should be able to change the value. Let's say I made it 23 and now I want to print it. So you can see the result is printed here as 23. Even though we stored the value 12 firstly, the value which we changed later, which is 23, that is the updated value which is stored inside the age. So if we want, we can change it again. Age is equal to 232 and still it will work. So for any variable, you can change the value multiple times. But in case of let, which is a constant, you cannot change the value once you have assigned it. This difference is because Swift is designed to be safe. So it enforces you to decide which data will change and which data will not change. So if you know that my name will never change throughout the app, you will store it as let. And if you know that there is some data which can be changed, then you store it as variable. Whenever you are in doubt whether what to choose for a variable, like what to choose let or var, go with let. And down the line, like whenever you need to change the value of that variable, then you can just go and change the let to var. One more thing that you guys might have noticed is we do not need to add a semicolon at the end of each line to run the code. Just like in other programming languages, you need to add a semicolon. In Swift, you do not need it. Even if you add it, that is fine. But you do not need to add any semicolon in Swift. Swift is a strongly typed language. By strongly typed language, we mean that every variable has a data type. But Swift is smart. It automatically detects the data type. So like the variable we created here, age, actually the data type of age is int. So we could have written it as age int is equal to 12. But because Swift is smart, it automatically detects that we have stored 12 in age and 12 is an integer. So it will automatically make age as integer. So we do not need to add int here. It will automatically make age as integer. And if you want to check the data type of age, you can just press the option button and you will see that your arrow has changed into a question mark, and then left click with your mouse. It will show where age as int. So it has automatically applied int data type to age variable. How? Because we have stored 12 as a value inside it. If we have made it 12.00 and now we see the data type, now you can see that it has changed it into double. So double is like whenever you have to store any decimal values, we use double. And when you don't have to store any decimal values, just a normal number, you can use int. So let's see what data types are available to us. So I will add data types here. And first one is first one is what we already discussed, which is integer. Second is a double, which can store decimal values. Third is string, which we already have seen above. Fourth very common one is a boolean. Which can hold only two values, true or false. There are other data types too, but these four are the most common ones which you will be using throughout your application. These are the other ones, like in int also there are int 8, int 8, int 32, unit 32, int 64, unit 64, float and double. So how they are different is the kind of values that they can store. If you have to store values between minus 127 to 127, you can use int 8. If you have to store values from 0 to 255, you can use uint 8. Similarly, there are a range provided for all the other kind of variables. For float, you can see you can provide decimal places up to 6 digits. For double, you can store decimal places up to 15 places. Similarly, for N64, we have multiple digits supported. So normally, if you have a large number, you can use N64 or a double. If you have a smaller number, you can use int. Now, you have seen other data types too, but we will be discussing only these four. And the other data types that will come when we are discussing the lecture, we will discuss it at that point only. Because these four are the most common ones. And 99% of the times, you will be using these four only. So we have already discussed int and double are different, as int cannot store a decimal value, double can store a decimal value. String means you can write down anything inside these inverted commas. To declare a string, you always need to have these double inverted commas added in the front and the last, and inside it you can write anything. Even if you write 12, which is an integer, if you write it inside double inverted commas, it will always be treated as a string. Alright, and D variable, which is a bool. Bool can have only two values, true or false. That's it. Nothing else can be provided here. So when there are only two cases possible, you can use boolean. Let's say if you have to store whether the car is on or off. So there are only two possible scenarios. Either the car is on or it is off. So you can use boolean in this case. So if you are storing true, it means the car is on. If you are storing false, it means the car is off. Similarly, string can have multiple use cases, such as you want to store any sentence in your app, you will be definitely using string. And in case of double, whenever you have decimal places, you can always use double. Int is the most common one, like whenever you have something like age and roll number, you can use integer. In strings also, there can be multi-line string as well as single line string. This one is a single line string. If you want to add a string which is multi-line, you can use like this, 3 inverted commas, then 3 again, and then hits enter. Whatever you write inside it will be treated as a single string. My name is Keshu Rai. I'm the founder of Tritech Labs. I love teaching code. Now let us just print E and see how it looks in the console. As you can see, our multi-line string has been printed. If I would have tried inside here, it would have thrown me an error. As you can see, it will start throwing an error saying unterminated string literal. That is why we have to add three double inverted commas on the top and at the bottom to tell that this is a multi-line string. Now let's discuss string interpolation. String interpolation. Now suppose we have a few variables and we want to use that variable to frame a sentence. For example, let's say we have a city name. Let's say New Delhi. We have the temperature, which is let's say 32, and we have is raining variable, which tells whether it is raining or not in New Delhi. Okay. Now we want to create a sentence. Now we want to create a sentence which says in New Delhi the temperature is 32. Is it raining? True. This is the sentence that we want to frame. So we already have the data, like we have the city name, we have the temperature, we have if it is raining or not. So we have all the values that we want to show, and we want to show it inside a string. Because to do this, we have multiple options. One option is by using a slash, open bracket, close bracket, and inside this add city name. So if you have a string and inside this you add slash, bracket open and close, inside this you can write any variable and this value will get stored inside the sentence. If you can see on the right, we wrote down in slash, bracket open close, city name, and this part got replaced by the value of city name, which is New Delhi. Let us see using one more example. Let us also add temperature. So we have added till here. Now add the temperature is. Now we have to add this temperature variable. Just like we added city name, we can do slash, bracket open close, temperature, the name of the variable. And you can see the temperature also got added. Also, let's just add if it is raining or not. So we'll say, is it raining? Question mark. And now we want to add this Boolean variable is raining. So we'll say is raining. And here you can see, is it raining? True. So this also got added. You might have noticed one thing. City name was a string. We were able to add it using this slash, bracket open close format. Temperature was an integer. This too we were able to add using this format. Is raining is a kind of Boolean. That too we were able to add using this format. So it doesn't matter what the data type is. Anything that you write inside this will get converted to a string. So I hope you understood how to add multiple strings inside one. Now this is one way. There's another way. So let's say let's remove this is it raining from here, and let's have it in separate string. So we created two strings and we can add a plus sign between them to add two strings. So this is one string and the another string is this one. We can add a plus sign between them to add two sentences. Now you can see here that this also worked, like 30 till temperature, it was a separate sentence, and after this is it raining, this is a separate sentence. So both the sentences got added because we used a plus symbol. So using a plus symbol also you can add two strings. you may have noticed that the space is gone. The space between temperature and this is gone. So to add space, you can just add one space in starting and it will work. You will see that the space has been added now. Another way is add one more plus and add a space like this. So we added a empty double inverted commas and between them we just added a space. So now once you look at the sentence also has a space added because we added a space here. So these are some of the ways through which you can add two sentences. Now let's talk about type interpolation. Let's say we have variables. Let a1 is equal to 3. Let b2 is equal to 4.5. And we have another value c3 variable, in which I want to store the multiplication of a1 and b2. Alright. Now you can see we are getting an error. It is saying binary operator star cannot be applied to operand of type int and double. So the error says a1 is an integer. We can see it by pressing the option button and left clicking from the mouse. The type of a1, which is int. b2 is actually a double. Now c3, it is not able to know what should be the type of c3 because one is integer, another one is a double. So Swift is getting confused that what should be the data type of c3. So it is saying either multiply int by int. Let's say we make it an integer. Let's say we made a b2 an integer. The error will be gone because now c3 will also become an integer. Or we can make a1 as double. Then also it will work fine because now c3 can be made double because a1 and b2 both are double. But because a1 is an integer now and b2 is a double, we are getting an error. So to fix it, what we can do is we can say double and add a1 inside it. So what we did is we converted a1 into a double. Now it will work. Now c3 will also become a double. Alright. So to convert any variable into another format, you can add this double and wrap it inside a brackets. Similarly, let's say I wanted to make b2 an integer. So I could have written as int bracket open close. And now b2 will become an integer. And now c3 will also become an integer. You can see c3 is 12. So this is one of the way through which you can convert one type to another. So I hope this is clear. I know this video became a little longer because there were multiple things that we wanted to cover. So I hope you have understood what constants are, what variables are, when to use constant, when to use variables, what are different type of data types we have available. We even saw a sheet to know how much range it can store. Then we learned about single line string and multiple line string. Then we learned about string interpolation. If we have to store if we want to show multiple variables inside one sentence, we can use string interpolation. And last thing we discussed is type conversion. This should be conversion and not interpolation. So yeah, in type conversion, we saw that how we can convert a double into integer or integer into double. So that is it about this lecture. I hope you got the basic idea clear. In next videos, we will be diving more into the Swift basics. So see you guys in next video.